Let's go. Okay, good morning. It is Monday. This is morning conversation. I've got little Harley here, and we're gonna have a little fun and explore, and of course, learn and train at the park this morning. So, I don't have a whole lot profound to say this morning. Really, it's just about allowing her some freedom on the leash to unwind and explore. Harley is quite a nervous, skittish, fearful dog, very suppressed emotionally. So if you have a dog who you feel like is suppressed or nervous, let's not take suppressed, because most people aren't going to understand what that is or what that looks like. But if you have a nervous dog, a fearful dog, anxious dog, but they're super sweet, your dog's emotions have been suppressed at some point. The best way to heal that, good girl, yes, good girl. The best way to heal that is to, yes, train them, but get them out into nature. Get them out of your house. Get them out into nature. Car rides are very, very beneficial. Start with short car rides and long ones. And in addition to car rides, Harley, come. Good girl, yes. Good girl. In addition to car rides and getting them out into nature, shut the fuck up. When they're in the car, shut the fuck up. Don't talk to them constantly and tell them, sweet baby, it's okay. Did you want to go to get a pup cup and blah? Just shut the fuck up. You're talking to them sweetly because they're your baby is making them more anxious and nervous. Why? Because you're nervous and sad and feel bad for them. Just shut the fuck up. Good girl. If they come to you, give them a little good girl and then move on. Get them to follow you. I'm not really talking to her a whole lot, but she's following, and periodically I get the joy of rewarding her. So when you take your dog to the park, play with them, but you don't need to constantly be talking to them and saying their name and come here and no and stop and don't, and just listen to your words. I suggest everybody watching this, all like probably 3 people that watch it, good girl, all 3 people that watch this, I suggest you record yourself with your dog. I don't care if you're at home, I don't care if you're training, if you're walking, record yourself with your dog. Harley, come. Good girl. Yay, good girl. Record yourself with your dog. Top performing athletes record themselves so that they can evaluate their performance. They can evaluate how their body moves so that they can make improvements. I want you to record yourself. You don't even need a video. Harley, come. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Recall's coming along very nicely. Very nicely. Good girl. I don't even want you to necessarily video record. Audio record yourself with your dog. Audio record yourself. And listen to how much you chitter chatter and just talk at your dog. They're not answering you back. They're not ever going to. Did you want to go to get a pup cup? It's okay. Are you scared of the car? Did you want to go for a car ride? They're not going to say yes or no. Harley, come. She got a pine cone. Good girl. Yay, good girl. So I'm going to go grab a toy for her since she's in a nice, playful mood. I know that just by the fact she picked something up in her mouth. So I'm going to go back here. Let's go. And get her a toy and see if she want to do a little play. So just audio record yourself. And see how much you talk to your dog. and ask yourself, is that helping? The answer is no. Are they answering you? Or is there any other voice on that recording? No, it's just you talking at your dog. And if you have a nervous, anxious, fearful dog and you've been struggling with him, I guarantee you're nervous as well. Go get it. And you're anxious as well. Good girl. Good girl. Yes, go get it. Come on. Come on. So, if you walk your dog, go get it. Go. Come on. If you walk your dog, just challenge yourself to shut the fuck up on the walk. Like, literally don't say a word from the time you go to put your shoes on, including putting their leash on them, to the time you take the leash off. Challenge yourself to not say a word. I bet you can't do it. I bet you can't do it. Bet you can't do it. Horse, what's it? Good girl. Go get it. Good girl. There we go. Good girl. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Good girl. Let's go. Good girl. Yes. Let's go. So if you want to train your dog to walk with you or follow and start recall, get them playing. Let's go. Come on. Come on. Let's go. And Hardy. Get it. Yes. Here. Good girl. Get this. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Get it. So she's a little curious about it, but she's still hesitant. So it's all right. It's all right. No expectations. I'll offer it to her. If she wants to play, we play. Otherwise, I can just still use it much the same as people would use a food lure. Let's go. Hardy. Come on. Yes. Good girl. To get her to follow me. Good girl. Yes. And start to feel good just following me where I go. Feels good. Good girl. Yes. I'll offer it to her as a reward. She doesn't want it. That's fine. Let's go. We just keep on moving. I'm just constantly moving away from her, and then I periodically will gather her up. We are doing a little bit of low-level e-collar. So right here, I'm going to give her a tap on the e-collar and move away from her collar. So here's the tap, tap. Harley, come, let's go. Good girl, yes. Good girl. So what I'm doing there is I'm creating a stimulus, low level, a stimulus to action, or a stimulate to activate. What am I activating? Her coming to me. Good girl, yes. Good girl, yes, yes, yes. And you can tell she's not afraid. Her tail's not tucked. She's not yelping. She's not in pain. I wouldn't use an e-collar. Well, that's because you're ignorant and you don't know a goddamn thing. You just think it's a shock collar. And you know that your dad or granddad or you used one once and the dog squealed and you felt it was mean. Shut the fuck up. Let's go. Come on. Yes. Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. Yeah. Good job, Mama. Good job. Good job. She's at an 8 out of 100 for all you namby-pamby fur parents that have a prong collar on their dog that's 4 links too big, that have a harness that your dog just pulls you on because you're afraid they're going to slip out or afraid they're going to choke because they got a regular collar on. So she's away from me right now, so I'll tap the e-collar one time and run the other way, calling her name. So stimulate to activate. So here's the tap. I'm going to tap, tap. Harley, come. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Yes. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. Oh, I got sprinklers on. Hold on. And my phone is right in the path of the sprinklers. All righty. Time out, huh, Horace? Time out, Harley. Come on. All right. So, we move this out of the path. Let's go, girl. We move this out of the path of the sprinklers. There we go. That should be sufficient. There we go. Cool. All right. Let's go. So there's a few ways that I teach a dog to e-collar. One of them is when we're walking one direction. Well, I'll show you the other one. So first I can tap and call her in. Good girl, good girl. Okay. Another one that I'll do periodically to condition the dog, and I'll use all of these. She's walking with me, I'll change directions and tap. Tap the button, change. Let's go. She catches up, I'll give her a tap, change directions. Tap and change direction. Let's go. Good girl. So that stimulus, the action means I'm leaving. Let's go. Good girl. Yes. And that she needs to follow and catch up. And then I can stop and reward her, and we continue on. Let's go. So we'll just do this back and forth, 180-degree turns. You shouldn't look like Family Circus, the comic strip in the Sunday paper, walking around, figure eight, all sorts of wide circles that aren't very clear cut. You should look like back and forth. If she's behind, now I'm gonna give her a tap and call her. Harley, come. Good girl, yes, good girl. So I tap once, release, and then call her. Good girl. And if you guys could see her face right now, you would say, oh, that's a happy dog. She's smiling. I mean, she's panting, but it's not a stress pant. Her tongue is not spatulated out. So I can give her a tap here and just quickly move away. Let's go. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Good job, Hars. Nice. I keep a long line on so that she doesn't fail, so that I can follow through with the forms of communication that I'm using and employing. Those forms are body language. I'm moving away. Stimulus. Let's go. Good girl. And verbal. Good girl. Yes. Yes. Good girl. Okay. So before that leash as a form of communication does its job, which is physically follow through, I'm using body language, moving away. So I just turned there, I didn't tap the button, I didn't tell her anything, she just followed. I can use my voice, and I can use a tactile form of communication, which is the e-collar stimulation. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. Good job, mama. So, the more forms of communication you teach your dog and that your dog understands, the better. The more you're going to be able to enjoy life with them, the more they're going to listen in a multitude of environments. Harley, come. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Okay? Because if you only teach your dog one form of communication, and that form is leash, or that form is treats, what happens if one of those fails? Do you have a third? Do you have a fourth? Do you have a fifth? So right here, I'll tap her and say, Harley, come. Harley, come. Good girl. Yes, good girl. Yeah, good girl. Solid recall. Nice job. She is she's about, I think, a week in to her program. So that's really, really good to see. Very happy with that. She's following me nicely. She's getting a chance to explore. Let's go. Good girl. Yes. Good job, mama. Good job. Good job. You guys, when your dog comes to you, when you call them, when they catch up to you and you're walking away like this, let them know. Let them know that's good. You can keep walking and just give her a pet on the head. Let her know that's where you want her. And when she's with you, she gets rewarded. It feels good. It feels good. Let's go. Good girl. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Good girl. I give them a nice little rub on the ribs, a little scratch under the chin, and then we keep on going. Let's go. Good girl. So Harley is at the point in her program and with e-collar. Harley, come. Good girl. That I'm only using e-collar maybe about 50% of the time. I'm using, if you've seen, how often am I actually using the leash for communication, meaning when does that leash apply any kind of pressure to her? It's very, very little. I mean, nearly zero. So, nearly zero. So early on, the leash was primary. Then when we start fading out the leash, now I'll bring in e-collar. And then the leash becomes secondary, and I might use the e-collar in a conditioning phase near 100% of the time. Just like the leash, you need to condition your dog to the language of the leash. And if you don't know the language of the leash, let's go. How are you going to condition your dog to it? You don't understand the principles. Good girl, yes. Yes, good girl. You don't understand the principles. A leash isn't just to control your dog and have them drag you around. When you maintain a leash that's very, very tight on a walk, or anytime your dog's on there, you are conditioning them. Harley, come. Good girl. You're conditioning them to feel connected to you through that leash. Okay? I don't want a dog to feel connected to me through tension on the leash. But that's what you're conditioning every time you go out and there's tension, pressure on that leash. You're conditioning them to feel connected. They know exactly where you are because they feel that pressure, instead of having to pay attention to where you are with no pressure on this leash. And they connect with you through being with you, paying attention to where you are, physical touch and praise. Good girl, yeah. Good girl. So, but you gotta understand the principles of the leash. You gotta understand what's going on there. But you are making the choice to continue to walk forward with tension on that leash. You are making that choice. Your dog's not making that choice, because you could just stop and stand still and call them back to you. Harley, come. Harley. Good girl, yes. Good girl. Good girl. Give her a little butt rub. We got dogs walking through. Let's go. Good girl. Yeah, good job, mama. Good girl. So Harley is, she's pretty close to off-leash reliable at this point. We got dogs walking through, people walking through. She's interested but readily switches away from it. So We start with dragging the line, no hands on it, and see how she does. This is the progression. We don't just drop a short leash. Good girl, yes. So right there, I didn't use the remote, I didn't call her. All I did was turn, and if you saw that, she picked up her pace. Why? Because through this process, she's learned that when I turn and face her, she gets rewarded. She picks up the pace. So this is a good test. Come on. Yes, good girl. Yeah, good job. And then we continue on. Let's go. And then we continue on. Oh, she is dusty. Let's go. Good girl. Good job, mama. Let's go. So even that right there, we made that turn. She just touched my hand with her nose. That's a nice little connection. That's a moment of acknowledgement. It's a little reward. Let's go. Good girl. Yes. Okay. You don't need to go over the top with the rewarding. Let's go. Yes. Good girl. Good job, mama. So I'll let her drift off and explore. There's a stick over there that she likes. Just to practice calling her out of it. I'm just walking the same path. She is being given the freedom to choose within some boundaries. And worst case, good girl. She chooses that. I didn't ask her to do that, but I'm going to acknowledge that. Worst case, I can step on that leash and get her back. Not a big deal. But she's allowed to stop and look at the car that just drove by that made some noise. Catch up to me. Good girl. And periodically, you guys, I'm going to stop and get down with her and just love her up. Good job. Good girl. This is important. Take your time to reinforce what you want. When you're in a nice groove, stop and love them up. Take your time. Don't just keep moving forward. Good job, mama. Take a minute. Good girl. Okay. Harley is a puppy, you guys. So your puppy can do this. I don't care what age they are. Good girl, yeah. Good girl. So I can start to get a little playful too, where I might, let's go. Come on. Yes. Come on. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. You see, when we move fast, we stimulate a little higher instinct, a little deeper instinct, if you will, in their prey drive to chase. So she sees a dog and a human running over there. Harley, come. Good girl. Yes. Come on. Come on. Yes, good girl. So that's fine. She can stand there and look. I just want to use that opportunity to practice calling her away from it. She's not doing anything wrong. I'm not going to tell her, no, don't look. Or I'm not even going to go to her. I'm not going to walk over to her and grab the leash because I'm not worried that she's going to run over there. Right? One of the mistakes people make is we call our dogs, or our dog is in that kind of moment where they're mildly attracted to something, a dog, another person, and we pull them to us, or we walk or rush over to them. That's not going to get you where you want to be. It's not. Call them to you. Reinforce the calling them to you. Move away as you're calling them so that they have something to follow. Move away from them. Move away quickly as you have the leash. Let's go. Come on. Yes. Good girl, mama. Good girl. Good girl. Let's go. Come on. Yes. Come on. Come on. Let's go. You're faster than that. Good girl. Anyway, that's my little session with Harley. That's morning conversation. Take-home message of the day is try for 24 hours to just shut the fuck up and don't talk to your dog at all. I bet you can't do it. I bet you can't do it. Huh. You'd be way better off if you did it for a week. You'd learn a lot about your dog. You'd learn a lot about how to communicate using your body, using the leash. You'd learn a lot about yourself and how hard that is for you to control your own behaviors and habits, and what habits you have that are not habits that are getting you where you want to be with your dog. So that would be the challenge today. That would be the challenge this week. Shut the fuck up when you're with your dog. Hardy, come. Yes, good girl. Good girl, yes. I guarantee you your dog wants you to. Your dog tired of being talked at and confused because you're using all sorts of inconsistent words. No, stop, don't, scruffy, here, come here. Come, get off, down. Man, good girl, bad, no, don't, you just, your dog just confused as shit. Good girl, yes, good girl. All right, that's our little morning conversation. That is Harley and our little long line e-collar park session. This dog, I guarantee you, I don't know how long it's been, I guarantee you this dog gonna go home and pass out.